Hello. If I could speak with an English accent, this would be the day to do it, because we're doing a surfing safari with sound design. Welcome. My name's John Skippy Limcool. Sorry for the slight lately delay there in getting started. Beam us up, Skippy. We're out of power. You guys are funny. All right, so welcome. I hope you all had a great week with good musical moments and happy times, and you know, I'm gonna take a breath because I've been working very hard. I've got almost all of MegaMagic Violin looped, which is a very long undertaking, but boy, is it nice. And this is the MegaMagic version, which means you could make these really, really long and turn into really cool pads. You know? And then if you layered this with even just, let's say, just another EXS24. I don't know if you know this trick, but when you call it the EXS24, it's a sine wave. So I actually did a demo for Stylus RMX way back in the day, where it was just Stylus RMX doing all the drum stuff, and there's this really cool big bass, and it's a sine wave from EXS24 for it. So we can just use this for a sine, and then layer that. There. Let's take it down an octave. So this is going to be a really cool library. I really love how the violin was played, and Drew Kenulette captured it so wonderfully, and it has such a great tonality to it. So I'm going to show you that is one of the things on the list to show today. Give you a little bit of a check these out. These are really cool. The MegaMagic 2s are the hits that have the pitch shifting in them. So for some reason, it keeps jumping like that. So there's a lot to show you there. We're going to attempt to do a sound design safari, which means we're going to try to take an ambient sample. I've been doing this for a number of days now, and I have quite a lot more, actually longer than days, but to take something like this, let's get this loaded up. This is a recording from my trip to Costa Rica. And we're going to turn this into a really interesting pad using some of the plugins that maybe you haven't explored before. Maybe you have them and you don't know what they can do, so we'll play with those a little bit. To start with, I actually have a customer question that I want to answer. Let me get to my over here really quickly. They had a question in regards to a patch from OMG RMX that I thought was a good question we could take a look at here together. So let's go over here to Spectrasonics Omnisphere and call this up. It's a patch called Energy. And I don't know why it does that. I told it not to do that, but it still does. Oh, maybe. Anyway, let's see here. Can you go over this patch in the Urban RMX library? It's a multi, and it's called Urban Energy. So let's do this. So we go patch, directories, OMG, Urban RMX. and let's just say energy and see if it shows up that way. Energy. Let's see. I'm not sure. It's a multi and it's called Urban Energy. Let me see here. If I go, I didn't do my homework ahead of time to see if there's such a thing, energy. Oh, there is. Okay. Energy. I watched the video, you opened it, but it did not stay on it. The Groove RMX patch specifically. What's making the BPM pad pulse? So it's due to the Groove RMX, which is oh, I'm an octave off, so let's go like this and what's making the BPM pad pulse? Well, there's two patches involved. And they're both using arpeggiators. So if you turn off the arpeggiator for these two parts, oh wait, the second one is not using an arpeggiator. The first one is using an arpeggiator. So without it, it's just a synth sound, right? The second sound, part 7, the pulsing, whenever you have a question, when you're looking at patches and you're trying to study and go, okay, what was done to make something happen? Go to the modulation area and hit the magnifying glass, because this will pop up where it says the LFOs that are doing things to the sound or modulation envelopes. That will all be listed right here in front of you. And you play a note and you... Okay, so LFO2. And the other thing you can do that's nice is you can hit mute. So if I mute it, that's what it sounds like. So the pulsing is on the cutoff. I have LFO2, which is just doing a nice triangle down shape. Right? I guess it's the saw. Really? Okay. And then I have it synced and so forth, but that's what's doing the pulsing. I could have made it more pronounced if I wanted to bring down the volume and say modulate this also with LFO2. And if I wanted to really get carried away, I could have gone to the effects and put right here, the other way to do pulsing is to add an imager. Turn down the volume to start, and then go over here and say modulate this with that same LFO. This is what's cool, is you can have virtually 200 parameters. Well, not 200, but 64 parameters if you wanted to assign. And by setting it here, having it pulse at this stage means that all the reverb, all the effects, everything is now part of the pulse. So it's really strong. Now, if I was to turn this off, if I said mute for this, the reverb isn't part of the pulse, right? So you have that reverb as a component. But if you make this really large amounts of reverb, and then you add this, it's a very different sound. So it's kind of like you have to decide what type of sound do you want, because that's a very different sound, because we're pulsing the reverb, we're doing all the effects are being part of that component, versus here where it's just a nice pulse, but there's nice stuff kind of surrounding it. And so in this production, I didn't want it to be that as drastic as having all that stuff happen. So it's, you know, so that's the main crux behind it. The pulsing is coming mainly from energy at work to the cutoff filter. Okay. So that was a fun little exploration. Chat disconnected. Please wait while they try. Oh, chat was disconnected. Oh my goodness. All right. So anyway, I wanted to cover that first because that was a question that came up that I thought would be nice to like warm up, and we can't forget the Urban RMX library. Such a great library. Came out really cool. So, any questions in regards to this kind of stuff? Hey, Bernie. Hey, Michael. There's so many faces to see. It's great. If you have questions, pop them up in the chat. We can kind of be casual here. This is kind of a fun, exploratory, fun kind of a hang, you know? Wanted to do a series of videos covering the different multis because each one of these has different things happening that are interesting, and yeah, things are not right. I'm not sure what happened to this, but it didn't. I've installed it and it's played, and it's kind of weird what's happening. I shouldn't be showing this if it's bad. Things are off just a little bit today. That's weird. But this is not really an RMX or an Omnisphere day, so we're kind of going on to other things from this point. So if you have questions, still toss them up. Yeah, we will do something covering the multis because there's so many different things happening in them. I don't know why. Let me see here. Do I have... I could do this. 1 second. Let me... No, we're not even going to worry about that. So the main goals today, like I said, we're going to take a look at this really fun new library that's in the works. I've been looping it like crazy. Taylor was here looping yesterday. We're at the point where we're making composite sounds. And so I'm going to show you, first of all, the layout of everything. We'll go to probably the dry violin first because it should have everybody all the way down. So to start with, we have vibrato. And I should probably take it up an octave. And let's just put a little ambience on this. This is really not stark reverb, dry only. Just know that the samples are totally. And this just playing the samples, no programming whatsoever. I mean, this is a first look, but I'm going to add a little reverb ambience. So it's just a little bit more natural sounding. And the thing to remember this library is we're doing the most with the least. This is using a total of this many samples. There's 15 samples right now for most of these. So this is a little bit better than it's going to sound like when we get it to Omnisphere, because Omnisphere we only have 8 samples. So we'll have to go through, and basically what we would do is we'll probably go through and to start with, take the samples that are the in-betweeners. Here, B, so it goes G, C sharp, G, C sharp, G, C sharp. We'll do that, and then we'll stretch the samples that they play above and below and see how this works, and then see if there's other samples we should swap out instead of these. But typically, this is the map for Omnisphere, is to shrink it to 8 samples. So let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there. You really won't tell a whole lot of difference if you're playing it in certain ways. Maybe solo lines, you'll notice certain things. Don't save. We'll have it come back to the original. And then just to show you what we can do, so to get it to play even more realistically, then you go over here and you say destination. I want filter cutoff to be controlled by velocity. I can also have envelope to release controlled by velocity. And doing things like that makes it much more now, just so we're clear, this isn't trying to compete. I mean, if it competed, it would fail terribly against the big 10,000 sample libraries. But the thing is that this affords you all sorts of additional sound design things. So besides the dry version, there's MegaMagic 1 of this, which has this beautiful ambience. So you can do just like the cello and the other libraries. I don't know if I did this to all of them, but we did. I decided I wanted to do it to here. I put in the MegaMagic 2, which is the pitch shifting reverb. So this has this lovely which is really nice. I'm more about the unique new things you haven't heard before. So there's that. There's also the ambient version, which has if we turn off the reverb, it has an ambience in the samples, which is cool. It becomes even more noticeable, the ambience, when you go to things like the pizzicato. Like if we go to the dry pizzicato, it's obviously but and this is just the samples. We haven't gotten into the full programming stage yet. But if you go to the ambient pizzicato, this is without, I have reverb turned off. So this is just the samples. And then if you go to the MegaMagic 1, I think I have the pizzicatos here done, so we can, I don't know why that keeps jumping. It's so funny. It's really, I should have restarted my computer before I started this. We've been doing all sorts of sound design stuff here. So. But this reverb goes on for 10 seconds. Which, if you skip to where you have a long release and a long attack, you can... Just becomes a really cool ambient reverb texture, which is really fun. So there's those. Now, what I have done, I have the bonus ones. I've made a handful of bonus things already, as you can see. In fact, let me refresh the browser. I have bonus already of the what I call the ensemble. And first there's the fast version of the ensemble, which And this is using cello, viola, and violin together. So the B is the fast and A is slow. So we have a... And this is only my violin, cello, and viola libraries together. It's no other samples from anything, no synths, there's no layers of anything but I mean, this is the stuff why I make the libraries in the first place, is to make these things. But I'm giving you all the other stuff as well. It's kind of where it comes down to. And then Dark Dreamer is really, really cool. This is using filtering, Moog filters from Universal Audio, all sorts of things to create a more... Again, only cello, viola, violin libraries. And if you take this down an octave, there's notes all the way down there. And this is optimized for Omnisphere already, so it's... really nice. And it does have a bit of an attack, so... really nice. Came out really nice. So we're going to make a bonus composite sound right now. Well, not right now, but in a minute. And then the other thing we're going to do is get into the weird pad sound design Safari. So for this other sound that I want to make, I already have a picture in my mind of what I want. So let's see. Who said Mozart was dead? I'll take that as a compliment. Some Mozart. You guys are cracking me up. So what I want to do, I'm going to make a composite actually using synthesis and the samples together. So we're going to kind of go into kind of new territory here a little bit. I want to combine, let's call up, and I'm going to, kind of the goal of this is to show you how you can do stuff like this. Because maybe you haven't tried something like this before. But it's really fun to take different sounds that you like and make your own sounds from them. It can get to be a bit of work. There's no doubt about it. Now, I'm going to go over here to the massive libraries that I've created. And I think, was it in the bonus? Or it's the FM8 where I have a bonus. But there's some really nice plucky things. And did I put them into pad? This is... you know, this is like the second library I ever released. And so with Massive coming out with a new version in 6 months, it's kind of cool to re-explore this. And such a great library. Because Massive didn't have, the whole library has so few super big basses when it came out, the factory patches. So we really, I kind of went crazy with all that kind of stuff. But there's a, I'm going to find a bell. No, it's FM8. So let's go to FM8 real quick because I want to get a certain, there's a certain sound that I want this to contain. And I'm kind of thinking remember the D50 harp kind of thing. I want that layered with some of the plucky things in the library. So let's go over here. I think in the, see, where did we put it? I always say we, it's so funny because it's just me. must have been one of the synth sounds. So. It might be that, but I think there's another. Oh, it's the X patches. Here we go. There we go, counting harps. But I'm going to program this a little bit. It's not quite how I want it to be. So let's bring up the polyphony just because I like to play and not have notes. And what's the envelope doing? We can zoom in on this, right? I haven't played with FM8 in such a long time, guys. My goodness. There, that's nice. I'm going to save this really quick. Just here, save as Harpy Bell. Just because in case you lose it, you always want to have it saved. And that's the fastest way to save. I could have gone through the save process inside of FM8, but most DAWs have an area to save patches right there. So if we use this, and then we're going to layer this with, let's go to maybe the MegaMagic 1. So let's see what that sounds like with these two together. And I can tell, let's see. There's got it. Oh, there we go. That'd be kind of cool. And then let's layer that with something from one of the other libraries, maybe. Because the idea is to make something a little bit bigger and more special than that by itself. So what if we were to get the MegaMagic Viola? I think I have Marcato. And let's do this. This is going to be kind of like a special surreal layer. So check this out. Here's what I'm going to do. Let's get this a little bit more open like this. And have you go down here because I'm going to add, let's say, I think we'll do a Valhalla room. And they have some right here. You can go to the presets. They have some big spaces that are really nice. And then we can make it smaller. It doesn't need to be quite so big. Now, it's really fun to do this. Inside here, all I have to do is hit the record button on these three parts. And I can play my composite. And let's add a spiccato from the violin. So let's go here to EXS24. And let's say we want to add MegaMagic violin, maybe ambient, spiccato, downstrokes are really nice. There's down and up. So if we get that up here, it's getting kind of be kind of special, huh? Let's shorten this reverb so it's not quite so. Maybe a smaller room. Cool. And I wanted to have brightness because I can use filters and velocity and all sorts of things later to filter it and darken it and so forth, right? So now that I've got kind of the composite, and I might go back and tweak this. So let's do this. I'm going to hit Command S. Actually, let's go save as. And let me save this to this is 0808. It's 808 day. Happy 808 day. Live stream. So I have it saved in case I decide to come back and tweak this once I actually make the map. So now what I need to do is record it. So I go, what? Yeah, we'll start there. And then I have to decide a couple of things. In doing a performance like this, let's see. Let's mute the bugs. We don't want the bugs yet. How am I going to play this? Is this something that's supposed to be a short? Or do I hold it? That bell is... It's really cool up here. Oh, something's late. Who's late? Who's late to the party? Ah, this violin sample has not been finalized, obviously, because it's late. So double click this. Yeah, you're late. And something isn't reading right here. It's got a nice. Look at that little DC click thing. Nice to fix these things, don't you think? Let's see here. Let's go over here to that. I'm just looking real quickly. You're a little late, so we can see. Go close, open you, and zoom, 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 zoom. And click right here to change the sample start. And that's late, but I fixed this one, right? Just to confirm. I'll probably have to like render these out one more time for the final, but I wanted to show you the process. And close and say save, yes. So now, unsolo. I think I just want it to be a hit, like that. So let's do this. We're gonna say a little bit faster on, well, it doesn't matter tempo. So I'm gonna turn off the click, which I did already. So I can just go. Then let it ring out. Then there. You might be like, what? Watch this. So this is a cool trick. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to turn off loop because I don't know why it L off, and then go like this to copy it over and transpose this one up an octave, plus 12. And then repeat again, plus 24. And repeat again, plus 36. And probably one more time where now you have to click and drag here to say 36, 46, 7, 48. And let's see. And I'm listening. Yeah, I want to do one more. It goes up to 60. There. So by playing 2 notes and then copying those 2 notes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, I'm going to slow down my tempo a little bit because it's a little too close between them. I can yeah, this I want to make sure there's a really clear gap between. Oh, the other thing I should probably do is select all of these. I mean, they're all, so the way that you do this, when you hold down record and you're recording a whole bunch of things, it's making only one track of notes. Everything else is an alias. So if I change something to these notes, it changes it to the alias as well. And that's a good thing, and it can be a bad thing, because there's sometimes where I might, in a composite like this, I might want that FM synth to be at a different velocity. So then you would just select them and say, convert aliases into real copies. If you say right here and you go to convert, I could say convert. Oh, where's aliases and stuff like that? There's somewhere they have it's not processing, edit. It's in here somewhere. I'm not worrying about it because I'm not going to do that at this point, but you can do it. There's, I think it's under functions, MIDI region parameters, MIDI transform. No, that's not it. Here we go. Region alias. Convert alias to a copy. And so if you select all of these guys and you go functions, region alias to a copy, or maybe not to a copy, but region alias. It should convert them to a copy. There, reassign alias. So now it made it into actual notes. I guess that's what you do. I haven't done that in a long time. But you can do it to where now you could go through and say certain things need to be a certain velocity and so forth. For this case, I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I'm going to drag my cycle indicators to like here. And I have this. I'm going to mute my mic and bounce this out real quick. So. Okay, I have made an audio file called Belly Stringy Harp. And let's mute all of these guys. And let's go over here to this EXS24 and we can go edit. And I can drag this into here and let's see here, edit. Do I have a mute? I probably have a mute on or something like that, or a solo, or, oh, volume down. So if I can make sure I'm at the, let me zoom out so we can see that we have. Cool. cool sound. So let's get up here to a higher pitch, because this is where the bells started to get really interesting, was right in here. Oh, come on. And let's zoom in a little bit so I can get this to be a little bit more accurate to the sample start. And by doing this, I can now play this sound. And it kind of has, like I was picturing when I said my starts. Here, just as for fun, let's see how close I got. This is the Roland D50. I was thinking of making a sound like this. I wanted to have that kind of harpy quality, and I think I got pretty close. And by adding velocity and filtering, I can get even closer. So I'm happy. That's one sample. And as I go up the keyboard, I think that belly quality will get even better. So if I was to scroll up here to the higher notes, let's see what happens. So let's get right here. I don't like to play with too much delay, so let's zoom in. And here's a D50. It's not the same. It's not supposed to be. It's inspired by that. And we made it from scratch right here on the live stream. That's pretty cool. Let's see. Someone was asking about any chance for a synthwave library. We are working on synthwave libraries. Yes. I mean, if it's for Omnisphere, Omnisphere just dropped 1,000. There's a whole bunch of synthwave type of patches in there. So, oh, thanks, Razzer Ra. Okay, you guys can't be talking about beta software, so don't even ask about Mass Effects on my channel. Okay, please, don't do that. That's not okay. There might be beta testers watching the live stream. That's fine. But there's NDAs and all sorts of big agreements. You don't want to be talking about software. I don't want to be the channel that has something like that happen. So keep me out of it, if you know what I mean. Okay? So let me save where we're at, because I like that sound. All right. Any questions on that front? Hey, Harold. Welcome. Yeah. So we're going to go into Sound Design Safari now. And so for that to work, we're going to take, let's start with this sound. I might load a couple others up here. Let's see. Let's say frogs and, yeah, maybe the mountain cow would be fun to play with. An airplane landing might be fun to play with. Yeah, I've got a really cool Exosun who's done like people freak out with his library for Spire. He's working on a synthwave library that will completely mess everybody up, but he's doing bands and he DJs all over the place, so he's busy, but he's been working on something really cool that's going to be really kind of cool when it's done. Here's the Bug Symphony, so we'll have that here. So we have thank you, Shane. That's nice. So I've got a handful. So the idea, this is a library coming in the future. I don't have a release date. Probably by the end of the year, I would think. It's really kind of fun. I'm trying to create. It's going to have two components. When you go to Costa Rica, they say pura vida, which is like pure life. You know, everything's full of life and pure. So half of the library will be pure, which means it will be here's the Bug Symphony. So it'll, oh, come back here. It will be pure sounds like this. That you can then play too. You can, let's see, let's mute this. So you can have, you know, the cool sound effect. Right? But that's half the library. So it'll be like a whole bunch of these really cool ambiances that you can, here's Cahuita Morning. So to have something like that and just be able to go. As someone said a while back, the best meditation sound effects ever. So you can make meditation music forever. But that's just half of it. So the pura is the pure sounds. Then I'm gonna do like this whole, I don't know what the name will be, if it's psycho or twisted or just processed. But I'm gonna be using different tools to pull things out of this that can be only considered truly unique. Let me show you a couple examples that I've done already. Here's ESX24, and I have a couple sounds, and I could shoot over a couple more to show you. This is like Morning Rain. I'm using rain to trigger some things that were really cool. Right? And I've made a whole bunch of others already in here. This is my work folder, so you're kind of seeing my work in process. So if I go over here and I say load audio sample, I could go to these other sounds. Here's a flower pot. You hear insects, you hear sounds that these sounds are triggering and inspiring you. So it's going to be really cool. And it's a lot of times I do stuff like this. I'll be honest with you. There's a slight selfish component because I want to learn about something. And so in this case, I wanted to learn more about the synth sound effects that can do things beyond just the effect. And I'm going to show you an example of that. Let's use, this is using Reactor. Reactor has so many tools. I've just started to explore this, but we're going to use a plugin that's readily available that comes with, I think, Reactor 5 or Reactor 6 called Molecular. And what this does, it does some crazy things. So if I am, let's see here. So it's on this sound here. So if I was to call up a drum kit, so let's go over here to the factory drums and just say an acoustic kit. Oh, they're always mapped weird. It's like, why? Let's do this. Let's call up Ultra Beat. So let's first do this. So if we go, let me make a groove real quick. So if you haven't played with Molecular, if you don't know about this and you like cool things, sound is triggering the engine to do all sorts of things. So and there's all sorts of presets. This could be a record all by itself, right? It's really amazingly cool plugin. Right? So the way it works is there's 4 slots. And each slot, if you click right here, you have different effects you can load in. There's LFOs times 4, step sequencers, envelopes, and then this logic for this really cool turn off motion. You can do really cool, interesting things. And I wanted to understand how this works. And so a lot of times when I'm at a place where I want to understand how something works, I make a library, and it gives me a chance to dig into it and kind of figure out what's going on. And so with that in mind, let's initialize this, and I'll show you some of the things you can do with this. Let's do the drums to start, because drums are so fun to play with. Turn off the dry, so we only hear synthesis. And you can kind of hear you can get all sorts of crazy stuff so easy with just one effect. And then go to another one, you can add delays. You know, stuff like that. But I wanted to, so if you haven't played with Molecular, it's truly a transcending experience to dive into it. There's somebody did some nice deep thinking to come to this place with this. It's really cool. So we're going to transfer that over to crickets, all right? And what can this do to crickets? What interesting things could it do to crickets? And I got to warn you that this might drive you crazy a little bit. I'm not going to apologize too much because you're here voluntarily. But it is experimental, and it is one of those things where it might be irritating. So don't have your volume really loud. We're not cranking some killer dub music or something like that, okay? Please don't crash. Okay, so we now have Reactor. Over here, what happens when we play this with us crickets, right? So let's go over here, mute that, and so that's just the sound. And there's different waveforms, and let's take off random. Like even stuff like this, when you're trying to make sounds to play across the keyboard, you don't want it being crazy weird stuff. Sometimes it needs to just be and the frequency map gives you some frequency splits with this. As you can see, it can get very weird, right? And again, it's crickets. I'm just playing an audio file. I'll show you what I'm doing just so we're clear. I am playing an audio file right here. And if I change this audio file to be something else, let's have it play and be, this is a cow that was, what could we do to that? maybe that's not what we want for this, because I want something that's more of a steady. So let's go back to, I think the symphony. This is what is this? This is the Bug Symphony. That might be too variable. I want something a little bit more steady. So actually the crickets are actually kind of the ideal candidate for what I'm trying to do right now. There's all sorts of experimenting I want to do with the other sounds, but for this, it's kind of just a, right? So let's take off random. And let's look at some other effects, like maybe a cloud delay we put on this. And my dog. There's other sounds here too. If we go to Sonatarium. Like there's no harmonics. And each one of these patterns is a different offset. That's how they got the pitch variation things happening. Kind of like that. So it's a lot of experimenting at this point, just to say, let's raise the pitch. That's cool. And again, I still have crickets, so I could combine them now. Listening for the harmonics. I'm listening for just what can I find of interest. That's cool. So if I wanted to, at this point, let's see what this does. So let's bounce this out for that period of time. And this is, what is this? It's Angel, Meta, Verb, and Sonatarium. Sonatarium. Let's say PCM. And just call it Sonatarium pad. See what... All right, so it's bounced that out. So I can go to, oh, I don't want an audio track. I want it to be a MIDI track, an instrument, and call up a new EXS24. Let's play it. So all you have to do is hit edit and drag the sample that you've rendered. And there it is. And now I can put up an envelope. Take it down an octave, maybe. That's kind of cool. And then if you add filtering, that could be a cool component to have with Omnisphere's 4 layers. That's very usable. So, yay. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to save it right here. So I go save as Sonitarium pad. I'll have to rename that because I don't want to keep that name, but that just gives me a chance to call that back up in the future if I want to play with it. So the way to work with molecular, if you want to learn how to use it, is to go down here to what they call their single DSP to the init. And that way it's blank. And now you can put things into these slots. If you want to study and learn how something works, then going to something like the frequency shaper, these things, let me show you a couple other examples of what this can do. Let's just have we're playing on the crickets. Rhythmic. It can do crazy fun things. I'm going to show you one more technique. It already sounds like 4 layers. Yeah, it's cool to do stuff like that. Another way, and I think I showed this last week, but let's make a sound real quick since we're still on Safari. Close, don't save. We'll come back and grab that another time. Let's do this. Let's load up the crickets. Instead of them showing up here, yeah, they could show up here. So what we do is this. We're going to go and have, it's playing, right? And instead of reactor, let's use sound as space designer. And I showed this last week, but let's make something and actually play it. So I'm going to actually, you could cross convolve with its own self if you wanted to. We could take like rain. Here's rain and thunder. We can cross convolve those, but it's actually more fun. Let's I've been doing some experimenting with this. Let's use MegaMagic pads. Here's it without it, but it's still being driven. You hear the crickets and stuff in it, so this is that psychoacoustic stuff that Spectrasonics did for samples. Was some of this technique. Right? And then maybe we could put something after this. Shimmer is always a lovely thing to add. Let's make it big stereo. And then you could automate things like that into your sample if you wanted. So let's do this. Let's go over here and we'll say latch. So we have some motion in that, right? When I play that back, it's now doing motion. And then on top of this, let's add this is a fun one. Where's crystallizer? Just a little crystallizer for even more shifting, but it's now going to do like shards and Something like that. And maybe, oh, you know what? It was automating that. So since it was automating that, this is one of those things where you got to be careful. If latch is on, it's watching. So if I hit A for automation, you can see it was definitely doing everything. So when I play it back, oh, was it doing preset select? You know what we should do is let's do this just to be safe, because it go automation, delete all automation on selected track. So it's just back to being what it is. And then let's not have it record for a second while I get it set. Just wanted to give me some like frequency content. And now I can turn on latch and those kinds of things are really fun to put into pads. And then on top of that, remember, we got to go back here to Valhalla and get the feedback happening again. So because that's going to feed into the shimmer. And all of this from crickets. If I was to mute the crickets, let's see, turn this to read so that it's no longer recording. If I mute the crickets, it goes away. It needs crickets. So I'm fueling it with the cricket sounds, and then there it's taking it from there. And now if I was to bounce this out, let's bounce out crystallized crickets. There. Now if we go back to our ESX24 and we hit edit and we bring in crystallized crickets. We have this really cool, and it's kind of soft in volume. Select it all, normalize it. Maybe we'll have it so that it starts a little bit later in the sample. Okay. That's really nice. So, yay. We had a nice safari, didn't we? So, yay. We bagged some nice ones today. Nobody died. Nothing died. I hate this safari shooting idea. Just go take pictures. Go buy a frickin' 600mm, $3,000 lens and go get the most amazing pictures of lions and stuff. Don't have to kill them. Take a picture. Bring it home, right? Cool. All right. Any questions before we check out from our safari? Here, let me save this. Save as crystallized crickets. Crikey. And the SOL instruments folder. There, we now have some crickets. Nice. So the library will be really cool. It's going to be a whole bunch of cool, more patty kind of things and sound effect ambient things because those work really well together. Will you make a forever library? Ivar, what the heck is a forever library? I don't know what a forever library is, my friend. Maybe add the crickets to the violin. Oh, okay, sure. We will add the crystallized crickets as a sound you can use in the MegaMagic violin library, the bonus library that we're going to be releasing. So, good idea. That'll be fun to layer with the violins. In fact, hey, let's do that. Let's go like this and double click to add a new one. EXS24. MegaMagic violins. Maybe the MegaMagic. These are really nice. Where's the oh, I didn't loop the 8s yet. So this is just down ups. Now, I have not tuned my crickets. So here is a perfect opportunity to tune. So what we do now is we play. And it's the wrong note. So, hey, there it is. It's E. So there's violins and crickets together. Cool. All right. It's a library of sounds who never stop. You know, I haven't, that's kind of a weird concept. I haven't done libraries. Like, I don't know what, I guess you're talking about the ever evolving forever. There's parameters in the sound that are changing all the time. So it's never the same. I guess maybe, you know, yeah, we could do something like that. So by the end of this week, the $2 demo library for MegaMagic Violin will be out, and it will include crystallized crickets. And you'll have like probably about 2 weeks to make patches for consideration in the full version of the library. If you make a patch and it gets in, you get the library for free. So it's a pretty good return on investment if you get into programming and can pull something out that is unique and playable and will make Skippy happy. Then you get a free library. All right? All right. Maybe generative music. Yeah, I think so. So something like that. Yeah, you can just get yourself an 8 terabyte hard drive and move the mod wheel on some of these patches I've made, and you've got forever right there. All right. So thank you for watching. This was a very productive. We've got belly, harpy, stringy. We've got crickets. Cool sonatarium pad. Hey, what if we layered sonatarium pad with this? I'm curious. So let's see. ESX24. What is sonatarium? Let's save that. Sonatarium pad. Come here. Sonatarium. And again, it's not going to be in tune, right? So what I need to do is come over here. It's E. Cool. Now this might be something to, since it's kind of a more harshy kind of sound. Maybe we would go over here and immediately go to filtering to a bandpass filter type of thing. Something like that you could do, right? Would be fun. Maybe we'll put Sonatarium in there too, because cool. All right, so maybe we'll do that. I'll play with the ideas and stuff like that. But and some lightning. Yeah, cool stuff. All right, I think we will call it a day right there. Command S to save all that goodness so I can get back to it and fine tweak it and stuff. Crank the volume on this one. Yeah, it'll be fun. This will be fun. Now remember the patches, unfortunately, it's just a single sample across the keyboard. So some of these... What I will probably do, like I did with the viola library, patches that have a really cool quality, we'll split it out to be multiple patches and make it a multi so that it plays nice as a multi as well as a patch. Because this wouldn't be that nice if the violins were just a single sample. So, yes. All right. Glad you guys are here. There's still a lot of people here. That's really cool. Hey, shout out time. Shout out from where you are on this beautiful little green planet we live in. Live on. I'll type in my shout out. Shout out from PDX. Far out in Denmark. Right on, JX. Nicaragua. I wish I was there, Ken. That whole area is so beautiful, man. My goodness. UK, Spain, Canada, Bavaria, Los Angeles. Bernie, you're in Babylon? Germany, Thailand. Isn't it just so cool? I just love the fact that we're all from around the world, hanging out, loving music, loving sound. Coolio, Amsterdam, Germany, Manchester, Ottawa. Shout out. Well, thank you for joining. It's a pleasure as always. I appreciate the support from you guys that need new inspiring patches, buying libraries. Keeps everything going. We will keep moving forward. Hey, Beth. Cool. Thanks to you all. We'll see you later, okay? Have a great week. We'll see you next week.